if you could, can you take me through your decision to test and then eventually purchase electric wheel loaders?
I mean, I think, from a government agency standpoint and what we do, it kind of directly aligns with our kind of a mission of, you know, um, basically converting resources into renewable resources and then, utilizing those resources. So the whole electrification piece works really well with our mission. So, we've been trying to do that for a long time on the on-road side, and then on the off-road side, it's obviously a little bit more complicated with the construction equipment, but we really like the electric wheel loader, as a good fit because of basically the application and duty cycle. That battery acts as a ballast and doesn't detrimentally impact the ability for that machine to do its work. Similar to, I think we've discussed this before, but when you talk about a semi tractor going down the road, you add maybe 3 or 4 tons of weight with that battery pack that impacts its ability to carry payload. Whereas with a wheel loader, that doesn't have a negative impact on its ability to do work or do less work with the same machine. So for that aspect, we really kind of concentrated on wheel loaders being one of our first applications for electric equipment outside of maybe forklifts. Forklift trucks have been electrified for some time now, but on the construction side, the wheel loader seems to be a good fit. So we did some work with the medium wheel loaders with Lugong back starting a little over 2 years ago, and then with Volvo we really looked at that compact wheel loader, and in some cases it was replacing another like machine being a diesel compact wheel loader. Other times we looked at with that wheel loader and its ability to change attachments to replace multiple different machines. Some of those being forklifts, some of those being skip loaders with a Gannon box in the back, just used with a bucket. Others being skid steers. So looking at a lot of these different applications and types of equipment, could we combine multiple applications into one piece of equipment and being what we call a Swiss Army knife, similar to a skid steer, has that same quick coupler attachment where you can kind of change attachments and do multiple applications with that, having forks, various types of buckets, sweeper attachments that we can use to perform maintenance type activities at our various facilities.
How many electric wheel loaders are you up to now, and what all are they doing?
We've got about a dozen electric wheel loaders. And yeah, so on the medium duty side, we put them in more of a production application where they're, working at compost facilities, loading and screening material, or, load and carry material at our facilities, loading dump trucks, loading trailers, things like that, on the medium duty side. And then on the compact side, we kind of put them in our maintenance yards to support various maintenance crews doing small construction maintenance projects at site, doing brush or landscaping activities throughout our many facilities in Los Angeles County.
Now, how are you measuring their performance or gauging their performance against their predecessors or other, diesel loaders you might still have?
On the compact side, we don't do a lot of metrics with that kind of stuff because it's not really a production machine and it's really hard to measure because there's a lot of stop-start activity. But what we really look at is, reliability and availability to work when it's needed to be worked. And really on the compact side, I think we had one machine that had to have a battery pack replaced. So there was some significant downtime there. But what we liked with the local dealer is, they provided a free machine to support that during the downtime. So, when you're piloting or, being the first to try some of these, electric equipment, I think the important thing is to have great support and service, from local dealers. We leverage that in a lot of these purchase agreements to have, guaranteed backup machines, in the event of downtime, just to make sure it didn't hinder any of our operations. So I think that's an important thing to consider. Um, so yeah, generally the compact wheel loaders have been pretty reliable. Besides that one instance we had, which was well supported by the dealer and the manufacturer. On the medium-sized wheel loaders, generally they've been pretty reliable. What we've really found is some of the low voltage battery circuits, um, and it's just a training issue with operators. It's turning off the machine, with the battery isolation switch when it's not in use, because there is some parasitic load on the low voltage side, the 12 to 24 volt circuit. Those batteries get drained from various electronics running behind the scenes sometimes when they're not switched off. So if you don't have that low voltage, you can't power up the computers to start that machine. So that's been our biggest problem, and just training operators on how to switch everything off properly. And I think some of that is also with you got to leave that circuit on a lot of times when you're charging. So understanding when we're charging, if you're charging it over a weekend when we're not in operation, understanding like how do we support that, because you could be charging a machine, and if that's not recharging your low voltage battery while it's charging the large high voltage battery, and you have to leave it on over the weekend, you can come back Monday morning and it could not start for that reason. So kind of understanding that, working with the manufacturers to see if there's anything we can do to kind of support that better based on our application or requirement. And then, obviously working with the operations side or the people using that machine, the end users, to get them to understand, so there's an alignment there.